Hey guys, welcome back to Z Code System. Drew here coming at you today. We're going to talk about the World Cup 2022, which kicks off later this year. And I know I'm getting excited about it. I wasn't really sure if I would because this World Cup is going to come in the middle of the European soccer season, at least the European major leagues of the soccer season. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be really amped up for this, but I'm getting more and more excited as the World Cup 2022 gets about to kick off. And so we've recently previewed the World Cup here on Z Code System, and we're going to talk about that today, talk about the teams and the latest odds as we get ready for the kickoff in Qatar. Now, this is one of the most controversial World Cups due to it being awarded to Qatar back in 2010, and really the country being far from a country you would have expected to have a World Cup awarded to it, and it's obviously, the controversies have been all over the media, but now the tournament is about to kick off with 32 teams descending on the small Middle Eastern country. And if you're planning on going, well, I hope you have a ticket to those games because it's going to be restricted, the people who are able to arrive and to watch the games. And part of that reason is due to the lack of accommodation available to them in the country of Qatar. So we're going to be talking about this as it gets near coming up in November and December, and we're going to take a look at those odds. But before we do that, guys, don't forget to sign up to Z Code System today so you get all of the latest tools to make great educated sports picks on whatever sport it is that you like to invest in. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people, whether you are a soccer fan or not, who are going to want to take a punt on the World Cup. And we're going to look at the outright bettors odds coming up for the World Cup. But again, it kicks off coming up this November. All right, let's take a look at those betting odds for the World Cup. All right, guys, so as always, I'm using Bet365 because that is my favorite online sportsbook. It's the one I use the most, so I'm using the odds from there right now. And as you can see there, we've got Brazil as the bookies' favorite to win the World Cup at plus 450, and we've got England coming in at plus 550, France, the reigning World Cup winners, at plus 600. Now, let's go over a little bit of information here on things. The World Cup is going to be kicking off in mid-November. So in Qatar, due to the weather, the tournament was moved to a winter time period in the Northern Hemisphere. Due to the weather in Qatar being hot and sunny, and now it is going to be hot in Qatar still. It's going to be warm. I believe it's 7 of the 8 stadiums have air conditioning built into them to keep fans and players cool. And this is going to probably play a factor, the weather and the timing of the tournament. We've already seen this timing play a factor in the current football transfer market in Europe. Players wanting to find teams in which they are going to get lots of playing time in the build-up so they don't miss out on the World Cup, or so they're in great form for the World Cup. So that is going to play a part as we get ready for the major leagues in Europe to kick off in August. The seasons are going to kick off earlier than normal. The Premier League especially is kicking off, I think it's August the 6th. They're going to be kicking off the season in England with the Premier League. So as teams prepare for the World Cup, and then they take a 6-week break. A lot of the major leagues, including the Premier League, will take a 6-week break in November to the middle of November to the end of December for the World Cup to be played. So be ready for that. But as you can see there, we've got the outright winner odds. And I just wanted to highlight Brazil there because there's going to be a lot of punters backing Brazil. They've got the likes of Neymar and Richarlison in that team, Ederson and Alisson, both goalkeepers who will be fighting for the number 1 shirts. Brazil often go into a World Cup as favorites. There's an aura around Brazil when it comes to the World Cups. Of course, they've won the most World Cups of any team, and people think, oh, Brazilian style, the samba style, they are going to lift that World Cup trophy. But keep in mind, Brazil have not won the World Cup since 2002. They won it in South Korea and Japan, which was one of the I don't know, some would say the worst World Cups in recent memory. And it was a World Cup that took place incredibly early. And one of those reasons was because of the weather in Japan and Korea. They wanted to miss the I guess the wet season, the tsunami season in those two countries. So the World Cup was pushed forward. I believe it was played throughout the month of June rather than in June and July that year. And we saw Brazil win that World Cup. Well, again, we're going to see an alteration in the calendar for the World Cup this year. So I think the adjustment in the calendar for the World Cup is going to play a role in what happens in Qatar. But with that said, I don't think Brazil are going to win this tournament because Brazil are an overhyped team from year to year. Yes, they have some very good players, but I don't see Brazil winning this. And there's always a the idea, I guess you could say, that you don't sign Brazilian players based on a World Cup because they don't perform for your club team. So in the same way, I don't bet on Brazil to win the World Cup. I think they're overhyped. Now, France are the reigning World Cup winners. They won it in Russia in 2018. They've just won the UEFA Euro Nations League, I should say, the Nations League, which was played last year in 2021. And so I think they're a strong team here. England, yes, having some good results over the last couple of years, but I'm a little bit worried about this England team right now. They're not in the best of form. And if I have to give you right now off the top of my head a team who is a dark horse looking at these, I'm liking both Spain and the Netherlands right now. I think both of those teams could do some damage in the tournament, and I think both could go very far in the World Cup coming up. But we're going to see the World Cup kicking off shortly. Now, if you go over to zcodesystem.com/blog, you can read everything I wrote there about the tournament, find out a little bit more about all the 32 teams that will be competing. And as you can see there, the tournament will be kicking off Monday, November 21st. So it's going to be a fantastic time in November and December. A bit of an early Christmas present, or if you're in America, it's going to be something to watch around Thanksgiving. So it'll be lovely, lovely to watch. And this time around, we're going to see a few more games played early on. The first game of the tournament is going to be Senegal and Netherlands, and then Qatar, the host team, will be taking on Ecuador after that. So we're going to see a lot of good games coming up in that first day, and the final will be played December the 18th, 2022, and a third place game will be played the day before on the 17th. And then once we get past that, a week or so later, just after Christmas, we're going to see the leagues such as the Premier League return to action. It's going to be a jam-packed autumn and winter of soccer. And so if you are a football/soccer bettor, then you are going to love this upcoming time period because there's going to be wall-to-wall games. And to be honest, right now, we're already seeing a lot of games. We've got the Women's Euros, which has just kicked off, and we previewed that previously here on Z Code System. And like I said before, the major leagues in Europe, the Premier League, Liga 1, Serie A, the German Bundesliga, as well as La Liga, they're going to be kicking off extra early this year, along with the Champions League tournament, all kicking off early this season because of this disruption caused by the World Cup. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for me today. Just wanted to give you a little heads up on the World Cup coming up. And when the tournament comes, I'm going to be here previewing games. I'm going to be here giving you picks and odds. And we're going to probably do some daily updates for you guys, doing some picks and some different things with the Soccer Buddy tool. So stay tuned for that. Sign up to Z Code System now so you can get all the updates from all the tools that we have, Soccer Buddy, etc., and so forth. And I will see you soon here on Z Code System.